Tony D back with issue 6, Robocop. Boom Studios, Joshua Williamson and Carlos Magno are bringing us a very fine palette of the man himself. Love these covers. Have to give a little analysis of them. They're good and they actually mean something to the story in this age of variant covers that have nothing to do with the book, which just grinds my gears. These actually, they give you some insight and they're very analytical, where we have Robocop becoming lost. He is in a spiral of a mess with what's going on. And that's where we have left him. He is facing off with an ED209 monstrosity, and his partner Lewis is a detective now and somewhat detached, which adds to the chaos. Let's get into this. We're starting off here where they are 1 year ago. We're having a little flashback. We're going into where they are making a leg, a robotic leg. And they're talking about how it's going to give him stronger motors in his joints, but it is heavy. And they're even talking more corporate talk about how it's all for show. And, you know, how it's just going to be, but look at that. Great use of the whole 2 pages. There's your beefed up ED209. I think it's even an X. It is freaking awesome. And these guys are a brazen gang is what I call them, because they're mocking Robocop with their helmets. And you really get this sense of, you see the police are just like a shadow, minimized. And that's really what's been happening. Love this view of just these washed out tones of the old Detroit. It's really a decayed city. It's a city that needs hope. It's displayed very well with the art, the color, even the writing, where it's just a mess right now. And Robocop is still like, he stays in that robotic mode. He's keeping it together. That's actually, Joshua Williamson's doing a great job with the writing, where Robocop is keeping it together in the midst of just overwhelming odds, and he's coming more precise as well. And they'll probably show some of that, where we're getting in these tighter shots where the paneling is tighter, where this is close combat. I think that represents this very well, what's going on. And you're getting to more of that precision that our heroes are going to have to exhibit to get out of this. And they're making sure they're getting it on camera because they want to make him look bad, taking a beating from their Frankensteined ED209. And it's the ED209 is even picking on him, telling him he's outdated. And I mean, he's got a taser. It is just a truly fantastic, beefed up version of the ED209. I'm going to call it the ED209 Frankenstein. I like it. They got our guy down big time, all on film, and that's all they needed. That's all they wanted. They need to smear him. Our antagonist, Killian, is smart. He's orchestrating all of this to where the decay just deepens, the chaos grows. He's a really smart antagonist. They leave him, and Murphy, or Lewis, she's investigating a crime that had happened in an earlier issue, just trying to figure out, looking for evidence to put this guy away. And this other detective, this is another, I've talked about this in the last issue, that they're introducing other characters that add another layer. You become invested in a way. I'll give you an example. This character right here is an undercover police officer going into Killian's gang, and they introduced him in the last issue. The minute they introduced him, I felt connected. You're gonna need to be careful. The writing and art is good. You get to where you don't want anything to happen to that guy. And this character, for me, I got this sense of There's something, she seems neutral. She's telling her to stay out of this, to let it go. But I don't think it's to cover up for our antagonist, Killian. I think it's more of a, you're just going to dig a hole for yourself the more you go. That's just the way history's been with this guy. So now we get back to our antagonist. And the undercover guy is starting to, he's collecting intel, is what's going on here. And he's talking about pretty much how Robocop's outdated. Now they have the better robot where you don't need the man. That's how smart he is. It's eliminate the man, and then you got pure machine, and then you won't have what Robocop usually does. The human part of him usually rises to the occasion. And that's what Robocop's doing now. His resolve and just sticking to it just gets stronger as this chaos just gets greater. And he's asking the questions to how he's tied to OCP, and he lays it out. He talks about how OCP was very small and he had helped them. He was part of the reason helped them grow with his selling and brokering and the transport, really to other countries is what he was into. And he helped OCP become who they are. And he makes the mistake. I think this is where he makes the mistake. And you can see it with the coloring right there. If that ever got out, I think that's where he gave himself up. Because they send him on his way to go practice shooting. And then we go back to Lewis. She's going to the detective's house that she was with earlier. And that detective invited her over pretty much to sway her even more from continuing her investigation. And it's done very well where we're pulled from all the action and chaos and we're in this environment of a home and friendliness, but you get the kids ornery, but she's enticing her with what she has. And she got this by being quiet. She wants her to do. She's trying to sway her. They get into it a little bit. It's a big conversation, but it's really an ethical thing. And she keeps her resolve. She's not going to quit. And she even asks her if she's threatening her. And she's no. And then look at that. It's almost a menacing type of, it just seems evil. That grin and just showing, hey, this is what you can have if you just shut up and quit messing around. But she ain't gonna do that. She's all about Robocop. Robocop's back in his, I don't know what you would call that. Not his lair. I don't know. It's not like the Bat Cave, but it's where he goes to recuperate. The Robo Cave, maybe the Robo Cage. I don't know. We'll think of a name. And they start talking about the ED209. And they're talking about how she's starting to piece together some stuff too, that programming was decommissioned. And once they made Robocop, and after OCP figured out there were pieces of junk anyways, we've seen that in the past. She doesn't understand where this new one came from. Here's the leg from the intro. And now he'll be able to run. We haven't seen Robocop run. That's an interesting thing that I've never even thought about. But that was the intro in the beginning about the leg. And he gives a smirk. There's that humanness coming out, but he's finally an edge. And we're back here, and this is great paneling where we're with our undercover guy, and it's just bam. You know it. You just know the tension from that panel is dripping, and he's got him. He lets him know, and just the sinister, the coloring there with the bright, with that thing, it is very menacing indeed. Another great issue. If you're into the dystopian future, cyberpunk. It's not flawless, but it really feels like a Robocop sequel for fans, and they deserve it. And just if you're in this cyberpunk, moral complexity, this one's definitely worth your time. It's all in there. I'll always love Robocop. When it first came out, it was fantastic. But this right here, if you're like me and you love Robocop, this is a treat. So get it.